Today, I would like to do a piece on juveniles being charged with life without, under 18. It's a cruel and unusual punishment. Cruel and unusual punishment, and it's against the law for a juvenile to get life at under 18 because they say that their mind is not fully developed and there are certain things that you can't charge a juvenile with life in the United States no more. I've seen that it's a case called the Graham case, which is 50 pages, and I just wanted to talk about the injustice with this law. I know that they just changed it and made it where you can't be, they went back and let a lot of guys out because they was charged as juveniles, and a lot of them was registered as adults, and a lot of them was charged with giving a life sentence without parole and all those things. But you cannot give a kid a life sentence because what he done at that age, he wasn't responsible for what his actions was, because a lot of times they're not old enough to buy liquor, they're not old enough to buy guns, they're not old enough to do anything at that age to get them a life sentence. And today I want to talk about the Graham case. It's 50 pages long, and the Supreme Court ruled that in order for you, all of those cases that you gave those young guys back in the 80s and the 90s, and they've been reversing them with the case called the Graham case. Now, I have made some petitions, and I had seen the actual law that says they can't do that. But I have noticed that a lot of the cases, they had a young woman out of, I think she was out of California, that had an accident and did something to some guy that was older than her or was trying to do something to her, but she did get her case overturned. There was a lot of people advocating for her, and today we just want to advocate for the people that was charged, the youngsters that was charged, and they was under 18, and we wanted to be able to get these people out because their mind wasn't fully developed. But I know a lot of youngsters that was in juvenile hall, and they had a thing called YATS, and they were sent to these places with juvenile life. And I know that right now today, the courts is really in a catch-22 to show that this is not actually humane. But I know one time one of these guys, I think his name was, he was a congressman, he was trying to get the death penalty for youth. But today we want to go over these cases. I know in California, they have a thing where they're going back and get these guys out that had got these harsh sentences, cruel and unusual punishment when they was 14, 15, 16, 17. I know they had started it in California, and I hope it do a domino effect around the country. But I think it's in California, Nevada, a few of these states, and it's going around the country trying to fix these laws. And I got a friend that has a son that's in Wichita, Kansas, and he was charged as a minor, and he's partial blind, and I know that his case should be looked at because he can't really see that good. I think he's maybe like an albino or something like that, but I know that he should be, his case should be looked at real thorough. I don't know why his lawyers is holding him in there. I don't know why his lawyers is trying to get money to represent him, because I know that his father would do anything he can to help his son get out of jail. And I noticed that how could you charging a guy that's kind of like an albino with a shooting, and he can't even really see in the sun. And I know that he's partially blind. I know that he grew up like that, and I know that they charged him with this particular incident, and I know that this case really needs to be looked at. And I just want to talk about a lot of these cases around the country. We have some in Florida, we have some in Washington, D.C., all of these, Texas, Nevada, Arizona, New York, and we are just trying to fix this problem because it is a big issue in the United States. Because if you actually give the kids life sentences, Charles Manson, he had parole. He went up to parole every year to see that to get out of jail. If you give a violent person parole, what you give a juvenile a no parole sentence when he's a juvenile. You have grown men that was actually charged with life without, and they are grown. But why would you give a juvenile the same sentence that you give an adult? And I know that a lot of these guys that's major figures into these prisons, like Charles Manson and a few of these guys that had the super duper parole. I know that they did away with the parole in the feds, and I know a lot of these states, they have you got to be in before dark, towns out of the town before dark. But we just wanted to bring light on the 18 and under, or even 21 and under too. These guys that's 21 and under, or either 18 and under, really need justice, and they really need to be their case really need to be looked at. And we are fin to start going around the country advocating justice. I see that Mac Mill, Jay-Z, and a few of these guys is going around the country trying to advocate for these juveniles. And if we don't do something now, before these guys get a certain age and do when they get out there, there's going to be a lot of problems. And I see that these guys' mental state was tarnished when they was younger. Now I see as they get up to their older age, they have mental issues, they have family issues. They grew up, in a harsh environment. They grew up in an environment where they had to protect themselves. And now that these sentences everybody's looking at these sentences, and they're looking at them in a way where we should have been did something about this. But today on this particular year, 2024, we are going to go all around the country advocating for these guys. I was talking about isolation confinement, solitary confinement, and this is pretty much a lot of times when a guy young go to prison, he doesn't have the mental state to be put in with a lot of these older guys. That's why I see a lot of these young guys in the feds that they was younger when they committed these crimes. They put them in the FCIs and they put them in these lows until they can get up in age to put them with the bigger guys. Now I see the effect that the mental state of these juveniles has when they're young and they not responsible for themselves, because they are at an age where they're young and they didn't know what they was doing, and their mind is not fully developed. And a lot of them is they had a program in Victorville when I got there called a BRAVE program. This is when first-time offenders get caught up in the federal system, and they put them in a thing called BRAVE. I want to give a shout out to Mr. Thomas. They're really dealing with these youth, and we have a lot of counselors and people going around the country trying to see why so many youth is getting these indefinite sentences. I know that a lot of these guys that's they got older, and when you see them, when you do see them, they have some kind of PTSD, they have some kind of trauma to the brain, and we just wanted to be able to guarantee and let the parents know that we are working in these young kids' favor, because you can't destroy the youth, and these laws is barbarous. They are inhumane. They are Supreme Court have already ruled that these cases need to be looked at. I read the Graham case. Graham case is 50 pages opinion from the Supreme Court.